I just want to run away with my baby and never look back. My husband and I have been together for 8 months when we got married. The night before our wedding my mother-in-law told me this is going to be hard on me when he gets married, and this stuck with me. 4 months later, I got pregnant and I realized my in-laws' true colors. My husband and I wanted to plan a co-ed baby shower and my mother-in-law wasn't in agreement with this. This was the first verbal outburst I seen from her. She decided to plan her own baby shower and gave me an invitation. This was incredibly uncomfortable for me when I had to go to the shower with her friends there that I had never met. Throughout my pregnancy, they made comments about my weight gain. After all this happened, I decided that I didn't want any of my in-laws to come to the hospital when the baby was born. I really just wanted my space and time to spend soaking in my newborn. I told my husband that I really didn't want many visitors over after the baby was born. I think I struggled with postpartum depression and anxiety. I had asked everyone to make sure that they wash their hands and didn't kiss the baby. I didn't think that this was too much to ask for, but my in-laws were very offended by this boundary. 2 months after the baby was born, I found out that I had a mass that was the size of a baseball in my chest cavity. This was very stressful for me and for my husband since we weren't sure whether it was cancer or not because the biopsy was inconclusive. I ended up having an invasive surgery and the mass was removed completely, which then came back benign. Whenever I was in the hospital I asked my husband to tell his parents not to come and make the 3-hour drive. Despite my husband telling them several times not to come, my father-in-law screamed at my husband, "What the hell is wrong with her?" And they came anyways. I don't handle pain well, and I really didn't want to see them while I was in a vulnerable state. Most recently, my mother-in-law told me, "I just can't give away my baby," and this was referring to my husband. I found this to be incredibly strange since he is 30 years old and we've been married for almost 2 years. I really want to go no contact with my in-laws because of the strain that they put on my marriage, but it is difficult because of our baby. I feel like my husband is sometimes afraid to stand up to my in-laws because it is easier to have a fight with me than it is to have a disagreement with them. I just really don't know what to do and I don't know how I can continue dealing with my in-laws. To make matters worse, they live less than 5 minutes away. Comment. I'm so sorry you're going through this, but a choice needs to be made. If your husband really thinks it's easier to argue with you than stand up to his parents, you need to put your foot down and let him know this won't be tolerated anymore, or there's not only going to be a divorce but a custody battle if you truly feel what you say in your title. They have no right to berate you, or anything. They are simply being assholes. Stand up to your husband, seriously. He needs to stand up to his mommy and defend you. You are the mother of his child. It shouldn't be hard for him to stand up even if it's little efforts at a time. They need to set boundaries with his parents just like they will work with their child. It certainly won't be fun the first time. Both will likely make it painful through tears and guilt, but it's important to demonstrate that your resolve is stronger than theirs so they don't continually run roughshod over you in the future. If he's more afraid to upset his mom and you're suffering because of it, nope. Not saying be a terrible person like your mill, but your husband should at this point in your relationship be more afraid of hurting you than his parents. Don't go scorched earth on him, but let him know this isn't going to fly anymore. How can you do this? Oof. That's the hard part. You're going to have a very emotional and frank talk with him about how his actions are making you feel when he chooses to cut his losses with you over his mom's feelings. It needs to be said or else he'll never know how you feel. That is a lot going on and I can understand where you're coming from. First of all, I am so glad the mass was benign and I hope you're doing well. I don't and never will understand grandmothers having baby showers for their friends. Seriously, a baby shower is about the baby, not the grandma, and I can't believe these women who turn the situation into a party for themselves as if they are the ones carrying the baby or will be the primary caregiver for the baby when born. SMH. Your husband needs to get better at setting boundaries and sticking to them. I'm 8 months pregnant and have an 18-year-old daughter, and while I will always consider them my babies, I would never dream of interfering in their adult relationships. At least not intentionally or as manipulatively as your Mill and Phil appear to be in yours. It is very strange for her to talk that way about your husband. It sounds like she has some serious attachment issues. I just hope you're recovering well from all your medical things. I wouldn't want to see anyone after surgery either, so I don't blame you there. Things will get better one way or another. But I definitely understand wanting to just run away, even though it may create more problems. Next story 2. My Mill booked the room next to our bridal suite the night of our wedding. My fiancé and I are getting married in 3 weeks, and as of yesterday I have simply had it with my Mill. I went to visit our wedding venue in March and had expressed my excitement to Mill about seeing the place, and that the honeymoon suite was in a separate cottage with 2 bridal suites, and that we would potentially book both to get ready in and have more privacy. I was shocked when the venue coordinator told me she had booked the adjoining suite room, after speaking with her on the phone for 40 minutes clearly knowing what room it is. I was annoyed but decided I wouldn't say anything and switched our rooms. I should also mention that she kept asking us to invite more of her friends, even though 43 of the 100 guests invited are her friends and family. In April she threw me a bridal shower, which was very nice, but again it was all of her friends and I knew less than half of the people there. My mother was flying up from SC and it would be the last time I saw her until the wedding. My mom doesn't travel solo often, so I wanted to pick her up and drop her off at the airport to give her peace of mind and could spend some time together before the busy weekend. Had I known the drama that would follow, I would have never agreed to the shower at all. My Mill called up my fiancé crying because I wanted to pick up my mother from the airport. I was speechless. I then agreed to only drop her off, which sent her more into a spiral. She kept saying we were just not going to spend enough time with her, even though I was barely going to see my mom at all and we were staying the entire weekend. We live in NYC and have since made a second trip to see them in Ma, and immediately upon arrival she demands that we make holiday plans with them. During breakfast, my fiancé invited his parents up to NYC to stay with us one more time before the wedding. I was very angry as he had not consulted me about this, and we are also in the middle of packing. They came last week and attended our marriage at the courthouse. That evening we left for Chicago and they stayed in our apartment for one night. So not only have they seen us 2 more times since the shower, she is already planning her stay in our new Chicago apartment for Thanksgiving. When I began to unpack, I was absolutely stunned at what I had saw. I found a picture of my fiancé's deceased grandparents very neatly placed in his underwear drawer. I was speechless. I sent a photo in a group chat to Mill and my fiancé, and she confirmed that she had just put it there after it fell out from her purse. Not only was this just a bizarre move, she had clearly gone through our personal belongings and violated our personal space. I was absolutely irate and told my fiancé that she is not to contact me until after the wedding, and then we can sit down and establish some very clear boundaries. This is a very watered down version of everything that has happened, but I am fed up. She has sent me a text apologizing today, but she has done similar things before and still refuses to respect boundaries. I'm not sure what to do. She has been adding more stress to the wedding, but I don't want to come off as the bad guy, as she often plays the victim and makes situations all about her. Comment. Your coordinator deserves some of the blame here. Booking the groom's mother into a honeymoon suite adjacent to the couple is gross first and going to cause trouble second. Regarding holidays, make your plan with DHASAP as to which family gets what. State in a group chat with all, and remember to save one for just you. Example: my family is Thanksgiving, his is Christmas Eve, we stay home Christmas Day. If they do visit you, set clear arrival and departure dates and times via text, and they stay in a hotel. Make it clear you will not spend every minute with them, and make plans with friends to block time for you. You and DH need to get on the same page, and he needs to realize you are his family now before them. The coordinator's role here is dependent on if they're employed by the venue/hotel or if they're an outside coordinator. Even if they do work for the hotel, they don't usually have a hand in booking accommodations for guests/relatives. If OP didn't already book the adjacent suite, then the hotel has every right to fill that room if a guest wants it. An internal coordinator might have been able to hold it for them till a certain date, or ensure that Mill isn't placed in that room by the bride's request, but I don't know if that could ever trump a guest specifically requesting that room. Oh dear God. OP, this is a way bigger problem than you might realize. He will likely never change this behavior. This will be your life, forever. You won't have any boundaries. You will continue to be harassed and bullied. And it will get worse. I was married to someone exactly like this, with this kind of Mill. I'm currently getting divorced from him, and this was one of the major issues that never changed. Please seriously reconsider this relationship. The red flags are serious.